My cat Freddie loves to be brushed and cuddled. But stirring up his cat allergens meant sneezing and itchy eyes. Then I found Purina One Live Clear. It's cat food that reduced the major allergen and my suffering in as little as 21 days. Now, we feel closer than ever. If you have issues with cat allergens, you really need to try Purina One Live Clear.
Try new Purina One Live Clear today. Purina One, a difference from day one.
Very, very pleased to be joined by our weekly contributor, Brian Kilmeade, a New York Times bestselling author, nationally syndicated radio talk show host, and the co-host of Fox and Friends on the Fox News Channel, also the host of One Nation there. He's got more shows than most people have ties. Brian, it is great to talk with you.
You know what, Frank? Thanks for having me on. I know you have a lot of guests, and it's nice to know I'm a contributor, which means I should be on the Frank Morano payroll, not John Catsimatidis. I should be on your payroll. How big is your payroll, by the way?
It is rapidly diminishing, from what I'm told, Brian. That's a trust me. That's a discussion for another day. All right. So yesterday, a big day for the Trump team, and I think maybe the country, with the confirmation of Tulsi Gabbard as the director of national intelligence. It looks like today is going to be RFK Day. Give me your thoughts on this, Brian.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to it. I think the one thing that I get from people that don't want to talk politics is food and health and the chronic illnesses and the price of medication and insurance. And I think he's going to dive into all of it. And I think he's going to be a big picture guy. And underneath him is going to be an executor. And he's going to find out some of the things he can do and other things he can. And the things that he can't do, I think he's going to make public and say, look, I'm trying to move us forward when it comes to nutrition. We all agree on this, but I cannot get this behemoth of an organization to move in my direction. And other things he's going to get great momentum in, whether it's Jillian Michaels, whether it's Casey or Callie Means, whether it's Gary Brecka. There are some fundamental things that people that don't want to be bodybuilders or necessarily ultra marathoners, that we could all do some basic things in our diet that we had no idea what was in. You know, if we go out and have candy and, you know, you go out and you have junk food and sitting here Doritos all day, you're eating poorly, but you're making that decision. There's a lot of people listening to us right now who think they're eating well, right, and have no idea the stuff that we've been having is basically Frankensteined into our bodies and fundamentally making us unhealthy. And I think there's a thirst in this country, especially for people raising kids, to make sure they're giving kids things that are gonna help them long term. And I was just fascinated by that, by something we've discussed before that I didn't know into the 1950s and 60s, into the birth control pill. Nobody was on a medication that you took every day. Nobody. And now everybody is. Right. Everybody, I'm taking this, I'm taking that. My doctor put me on this. My cholesterol's high, my cholesterol's low, my heart rate is low, my heart rate is. I'm thinking to myself, wow, you look healthy. I mean, what's going on here? So I'm not willing to say that the pharmaceutical companies are keeping us unhealthy. Some people are. Some people I talked to, even over the weekend, extremely knowledgeable doctors have told me I left the pharmaceutical business because their business was keeping us sick. And I'm thinking to myself, wow, that's a huge step. But that's a step that, RFK, I think on some level believes. So we're going to find out. And I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm excited too, and we'll see where it goes and how he shakes things up. But I think it's going to be pretty significant. It's interesting also that President Trump's approval rating is now at 52%. Now, people may listen to that and say, all right, 52% is not so great. You still have half the country that doesn't approve of him. That's not exactly the numbers George Bush was doing after 9/11 or the numbers that the other George Bush was doing during the Gulf War. But it's pretty significant because during the first Trump administration, his approval rating was never above 50%. I don't want to overstate his popularity with the public at large, Brian, but why do you think that Trump, at least in this one particular poll, is seeing the highest approval rating he's ever faced?
Well, a couple of things. Number one, I saw CBS had 53%, and 53, the same poll for people, for people under 30, I'm thinking, okay, this is where he's going to crater. It's 55. And I'm thinking to myself, this is pretty unbelievable. A 78-year-old president who's been famous since he was in his 30s is now more popular with young people, a Republican on campus. Harken back to what Meghan McCain wrote the other day. She said, never in my lifetime did I think being a Republican would be cool, but I'm actually seeing younger people come up to me. And then again, I'm looking at that as anecdotal. And then when it comes out in the polls like that, I'm thinking to myself, yeah, there's a lot of people who just want to be prideful of the country again. There's a lot of people who want to be a little bit bold. A lot of people appreciate the fact that a guy will talk on camera without a script all day. And you go, okay, I disagree with Trump here. Let's say you don't like the way the Ukraine-Russia deal is going down. I don't hate him. Let's say you do love the Doge stuff. Okay. So people are saying, okay, I'm able to debate things happening because he's trying to fix things. He's trying to end wars. He's trying to come up with an idea that's going to jar people in the Middle East. And then when it comes to overall spending, there's only so much you can do. So what if you went into the infrastructure of it, make everybody know what's going on, let everybody know these programs you got to cut? I mean, I was fascinated to see some of that Doge hearing yesterday, and they said, just by being, cutting non-essential programs, we could save $1 trillion. And then I looked at what Musk said 2 days ago. And he said by being conscious, by caring and being responsible, we could save $1 trillion. And then I looked back at some of the Al Gore. By the way, they sound like Republicans, Clinton and Gore. I'm looking at some of these quotes. Al Gore reinventing government. That was like a dial tone to me. I don't know what that meant. And I'm watching his press conference yesterday, and it's online. And he's got stacks of paper behind him. And I'm looking at Bill Clinton, who's looking at Al Gore, and he's talking about all these wasteful programs. He sounds exactly like Elon Musk without the kid on his shoulders. And I'm thinking to myself, we used to be on that level. And then I looked at those Obama staffers who's got the podcast. They get enough publicity. And he said, I'm watching Elon Musk, and I'm realizing during the Obama years, we really dropped the ball. We could have done some of this stuff. So I think that the reason why he's popular, he's a happy worrier this time, and he's willing to talk to the American people. What I think fundamentally with KJP and what Biden and his whole staff missed is when you blow off the press and you blow off Fox and you blow off what you want, you're really blowing off the American people because we're transmitting what you say, and then we're adding opinion. Like you and I will add opinion, Hannity has opinion, but we're also transmitting stuff. Right. I walk up and I have 27 stories. But if you don't tell us anything and you just let things leak to your friends in the media for 4 years, you get a lot of people coming up with conspiracy theories, hate and love, and then you're just blowing off the American people. I'm thinking to myself, wow, the American people got you the job with, air quotes, 82 million votes, and you won't even tell them what you're doing and where you are and why you're going to bed at 2 p.m.?
This episode is brought to you by Loom by Atlassian. Are you feeling stuck at work? Get your team unstuck with Loom video messaging and move work forward. Use Loom to simultaneously record both your screen and yourself to share a quick update, provide feedback, train a colleague, and everything in between. Plus, add Loom AI to your meetings for instant written notes and recordings. Try Loom today at Loom.com. That's LOOM.com.
This episode is brought to you by GMC. When you have 4 new tires, every drive feels fresh. Right now, buy 3 select tires and get 1 for just $1 during the GMC Certified Service Fresh Start Tire Event. Visit gmc.com/service offers or see dealer for full details. At participating U.S. GM dealers only. Highest or equal value tire will be $1. Offer ends 5/31/2025. Not available with other offers.
Your snacking routine can get a little dull. Time for a light and fit remix. Like a crunchy storm of graham cookies, caramel pearls, and dark chocolate, showering down into a smooth, creamy yogurt. Enjoy 3 light and fit remix varieties with craveable flavors and up to 120 calories and 10 grams of protein per 4.5-ounce serving. See remixyogurt.com.
My name is Lily, and I've had hidradenitis suppurativa, HS, for years. I finally found some relief since taking Cosentyx. Relief means I can show up more.
Cosentyx secukinumab is prescribed for adults with moderate to severe hidradenitis suppurativa, HS. Don't use if you're allergic to Cosentyx. Before starting, get checked for tuberculosis. An increased risk of infections and lowered ability to fight them may occur, like tuberculosis or other serious bacterial, fungal, or viral infections. Some are fatal. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms like fevers, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, had a vaccine or plan to, or if inflammatory bowel disease symptoms develop or worsen. Serious allergic reactions and severe eczema-like skin reactions may occur. Learn more at 1-844-COSENTIX or Cosentix.com.
Ask your dermatologist about Cosentix.
Since you mentioned the role of the news media in transmitting information, let me ask you what's coming out of the White House now with respect to the Associated Press. The White House said on Wednesday that news organizations that refuse to use President Trump's new name, the Gulf of America, were telling lies, and it insisted that they would continue to bar Associated Press journalists from presidential events. Now, the Biden administration did similar things. They were very harsh with media outlets that didn't go along with the narrative that they were spinning on a variety of things. And, a lot of people called them out on this. In this case, I know your colleague Britt Hume and others have said that it's inappropriate what the White House is doing. I recognize that the Associated Press is not exactly an ultra-conservative media outlet, but I think you'd be hard-pressed to say that they're as biased as, say, the Washington Post or the New York Times against conservatives.
Yeah.
What do you think of what the White House is doing here on this one?
I got to get details on it. If I was them, I'd sit down with the AP and then bring up what they said. They decide not to do it. Other outlets have. Google put it on Google Maps. I mean, I can't believe how the left wing, the left coast is going along with this. Whether it's Facebook and Google, they're going along with it. I think it's about the brushback pitch. If I see a 4-part series on Donald Trump's family or taxes that suddenly a news outlet has to dive into, whether it's ABC or NBC, that's an attack. Oh, excuse me. You got to go into Fred Trump now. We saw the last year of his administration, and the administration's allowed to use some muscle and say, hey, I don't like what you wrote. Lincoln used to show intimidation, especially during the worst of our times, the Civil War. He used to try to intimidate outlets. Doesn't mean it's necessarily right. I mean, these constitutionalists bring up Lincoln all the time, who people think's walk on water, and they said he didn't treat he had a biased press. There was literally a Republican newspaper. So do I think it's great for an institution to attack the press and bar them from certain trips? Well, I think it's about staring each other down, circling around the octagon. We're going to be doing this for 4 years. You got to give me a reason why you're not going to use this, like the renaming. I have the ability to deal with it. I've done it. Maps are changing. Social media is changing. Why can't you? So I don't love barring people. I remember they tried to bar Fox during the Obama years. They just said we think you're a propaganda outlet. And to the credit of everybody, I believe, in the news media at the time, I don't think they do it today, they said you got to leave Fox in, and Obama caved. So I think there's going to be some resolve to this. I think it's the staring down, before the bar fight.
You mentioned the Elon Musk presser with Elon Musk's child. Certainly very interesting, very different from what we typically see in Oval Office press briefings.
I think so.
Yeah, to say the least. What do you know, or what can you surmise about the nature of the Trump-Musk relationship? It's not unusual, obviously, for people to be in Trump's orbit and then at some point they're out. It seems at the moment that they're pretty close. What's your read on where they are?
Yeah, Frank, thanks for the question. I want to get your opinion too, but let me just say this. I've talked to people. I'm not Sean Hannity connected, but I know a lot of these people. Some of them used to work in my building. So nobody, not one person said, oh, you should have saw the other day Trump blew up in Musk. They were fed up. In fact, I pulled the quote that I might have been last week where Musk says, the more I'm around him, the more I want to be with him. I find him unbelievably interesting and entertaining. And Musk said, and people have observed this, that he's almost like a father figure to Trump. And I just, I saw MSNBC and whatever the late night guy's name is there. And he says, look, Trump was sitting and he was standing and he was talking. This is Trump. Tulsi, Pete Hegseth is over there talking policy in Europe about Russia and Ukraine. You're going to watch Tulsi Gabbard go over to the Munich Security Conference, and she's going to be talking about our interests. It used to only be Trump, and then people would have to explain what he said. Rubio in Panama laying out policy. Now, I think Trump's enjoying being the conductor, and he has no worry about Elon Musk. He knows he's a genius, but Elon Musk has never seen anything like Trump, and I think what would won him over is the passion of the crowds, not the size. Then Musk would be talking to some of the people, and he saw their allegiance to Trump. And he said, I just thought this guy was good in front of the camera and had duped people. Remember, he said he was a BSer. He said in his book that Walter Isaacson wrote. That was obviously before Trump was running again. So actually, he just declared he's going to run. He was not in Trump's orbit. But like Tucker, Tucker's like, yeah, this guy's out of control. He makes life difficult. I can't even explain some of the stuff he's doing. Then he gets close to him and he realizes what he's doing. And my projection is 2 years from now, if I'm still one of your contributors and the money works out, and we have not talked money yet, we're going to be talking about Musk still being there. Maybe not every day, but they're buddies. And I think that his dad is absolutely twisted, Elon Musk. And when you become a multi-billionaire, it's very few people who put you in your place or you could go to for advice.
Right.
I think, outside Keith, I think it's Ellickson, who is Oracle. I'm sorry, I screwed up that last name. But Oracle's president, who's like in his 80s now, evidently he mentored Musk a lot. I think Trump's doing the same thing. They have different skill sets. Musk is not great in front of people. They thought he was doing a Nazi salute. Why? He was overwhelmed. Why would the richest man in the world who did all these things gets applause and goes? Why would he be overwhelmed? Because he's never had people like him before. He's had people there respect him. But now they're like, you're in the orbit. You're on the team. And I just think that people are missing it. The Time magazine that was supposed to separate them. Guys, they laugh at that. They got too much stuff to do. They can't. And Trump, the old Trump, might have been bothered by that. It's just, I think people have to understand. This is a happy warrior now.
Yeah.
I know there'll be tense moments, but not now.
Brian Kilmeade, check him out on radio. He's got Victor Davis Hanson, Josh Kraushaar, Catherine Boyle, and Mark Thiessen today. Brian, I'll see you next week. We'll work on getting your agent together with our team, okay?
We'll see if it works out. Okay. Right. Talk to you later.
Brian Kilmeade, thank you, my friend. We'll continue with your calls and 15 seconds of fame straight ahead.